man. That's exactly how we doing it. But today's session, man, it's real special because we're celebrating the life, the legacy of Mindbender Supreme himself, man. Today is his birthday, man, and happy birthday, brother. I feel like so often we don't really celebrate each other and really see how much of a blessing it is to have our full solar return, to be able to come back to our beginnings, but with knowledge from the past, and as we move forward again, so it all connects with Reminisce. And in the tradition of reminiscing, it would be cool to have some conversations with you about just your evolution. Real quick, I was on YouTube and I found this music video, man, that's like well over 10 years old, and it's back when you had dreads. I think I'm gonna play that real quick just to
let's go there
for a minute now. And this is the Mindbender that I remember. We're gonna get into how we connected and just some of the things you were doing in the Toronto hip hop scene. But first, let me just see what we got here, man. Let me see.
Thank you so much. It's an honor. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, where we go here?
Because the alternative is not being here. We have no choice but to get older.
You know what? And we do. And I remember growing up in hip hop culture, the whole idea was, not being alive by the age of 25. There was always this mindset of not being older, you know what I mean? So nowadays as I grow, I'm just man, this is we were sold a lie. We were sold a lie. This YOLO lifestyle and all of that. Nah, man, this is we've been sold a lie.
We've been sold a lie, exactly. It's not right for Black men to think that they shouldn't live past the age of 25. That's one of the reasons why I have Tupac over my shoulder in almost every time I broadcast. I remember Tupac. I remember 1996 when Tupac was killed. I remember 1997 when Biggie was killed. And in my heart and soul, for me personally, hip hop kind of died those days when we never caught the murderers of our heroes when they were murdered in broad daylight in public.
Yeah. It still hurts.
It still hurts for me. It's still a bleeding wound. And even though I've done the personal research, the people who have actually killed Biggie and Tupac, pretty sure that they're dead or their lives are very fucked up if they're still alive. It's not real justice. So I'm just saying all that to say I'm happy I'm alive and free and get to celebrate another birthday. I from thinking you're going to die at 25 or thinking you're going to die when you're older because you're an activist. I cried when I turned 39 because Malcolm X was killed at 39. He didn't live to see his 40th birthday. Martin Luther King did. And I'm I just turned 43. Prodigy died when he was 42. So it's just all of this is great. I appreciate every birthday, every blessing, everything. So I just got a little healthy ice cream here that I'm gonna eat. It's not even ice cream. It's
enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. But in the meantime, we get into this music video here. We see what we got. You know what I mean? We're gonna go back, man. The next big thing, man. We will this back. Here we go.
Yes.
November 1st, 2008.
Yes.
What?
Okay.
It's bigger than him. Where the supernatural world, controlling the sky, riding and lightning while rhyming in thunder. Underground
over here on the way to the top.
We create the most lovely sounding song of the day with wordplay so ahead of my time. The next
closer feature echoes from beyond the grave.
Where near notorious, activate infinite logic into your subconscious to think of the image of God's head. So your eyes are seeing the vision of prophets. I'm dreaming divine intervention was alive and free that March 9th,
1997.
Assassinate Christopher Wallace. All the illicit caution to save the kids in the project. It was
written by Nasir.
Strangers then endangered species as criminal convicts with limited options. But once we eliminate the problem, the killing of Babylon will be
triple the biblical apocalypse.
Make our own new holy scripture, exposing all the unspoken lyrics missing in action, the prisoners of the war on peace and each good life stolen. Plus, what they calling rappers, the masses ain't knowing. The lifestyles of the poor and dangerous, or the bigger picture this is showing. You could be the chosen one, flowing out golden freestyles full of
tragic and magic moments.
The intervenes between you and your dreams, destroying some before rewarding their enormous costs. But I'm cheaper than flamboyant,
like Lamont Coleman.
First turns to exploding heat that seeks and keeps growing and all. Going so deep inside that
Mindbender lyrics become the last language Earth people had spoken. This is the next big thing. Yes. This is the next big thing.
Yo, that's fire, man. There's a lot of symbolism, a lot of references, including like Biggie and Tupac, like just what we're just literally just talking about. It's just kind of cool to see that manifested right there, man. So
that's reminiscing Sankofa perfection.
Yes.
The same fight for justice and love and truth has never changed. Like all we want is our peace, love, and freedom.
Fact.
And then we going back home, That's all it is, man.
And it's cool to see that, like, the message remains the same. Like nothing has changed. Like what you're talking about is still what we still talking about. Yeah, man. That's peace, man. Mindbender Supreme. Next big thing, man.
Yo, I love it. That was one of my very first rap videos. Shout out to Aaron A, who did the directing. He went on to
he directed that, eh?
Yeah, Aaron A?
Of course. No, he did a lot of like the earlier Toronto videos. He represents like the director who was like doing a lot of the videos when YouTube was just starting to pop and whatnot, when like things become more digital. Like he did a lot of like videos for some artists coming up. So yeah, I'm definitely familiar with his work. Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt. The next time I saw him, he was on tour on a Nelly Furtado world tour, beating the videographer, and I was like, wow. I guess you don't have time to do a second video.
Yeah. But speaking of which, man, like the video with that we just played there, that came out, again, like a good 12 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's all those references like the hooch, and that's something I actually wanted to spend some time on. Like, how did you get connected with like In Divine Styles? Like, how did you come up with that, and then connecting with the hooch, and then creating this platform? Like, where did that drive, that purpose come from? You know what I mean? Because I see people like yourself, people like Freddie Fame, in the earlier days, as
Planet
people.
P. Planet P from
Planet P, exactly. Yeah.
Planet Mars.
Absolutely. Just people who really, where we're just givers and really want to give space for other artists to shine, and to perform, because these venues didn't exist. So I guess why don't you give me your perspective on that, man?
Well, I got In Divine Style from my homie Ryan Haynes, who back in those days, he was known as Fritz the Cat, but now his name is Ryan Haynes. And he started a magazine called In Search of Divine Styler. And he did this magazine, and he also did an open mic because Divine Styler lived in Los Angeles and was around the Project Blowed, Good Life rap scene, the open mic scene in the 90s back then. That was the LA equivalent of Lyricist Lounge in New York.
Yes.
So yes, New York to LA to London, Ontario, and then London, Ontario to Toronto was where the idea essentially went. So Ryan Haynes, he did it for a while. He did it in Toronto. I performed it. It was dope. It was cool. And then he was like, yo, I can't do it anymore. He was like writing for Vice magazine at the time, and he actually worked He worked at Universal. He worked at Universal Canada as an A&R with Click as well. And then he's like, yeah, big up Click. And so Ryan's like, I can't do my open mic anymore. Would you like to carry it on? And I was like, I had the time and space. And I was like, yeah, man, let me host this open mic. So, excuse me. I ended up doing it for 5 years. which at the time was, I mean, yeah, it doesn't even matter about making records anymore. Nobody cares. But I mean, it's one of the longest running open mics in Canadian rap history, if not the longest. There's been a few other ones, but yeah, it's up there. We had
I mean, like the Hooch was like a very important spot. You know, I mean, that was like, you know I performed a couple times there, and it was just like a great place to just, you know, be in the midst of hip hop. You know what I mean? Like, especially, you know, for artists who are just getting their feet wet or just, you know, getting in this flow of performing consistently. Like this was, you know, a spot you definitely had to pass through. You know what I mean? And there was like, when the thing is that like these venues were so like far in between, like, you know, because we weren't getting put on some of like the major hip hop acts that would come in. So that's why, like, you know, the stuff that you were doing were so integral to like the development of like artists coming up, you know, in terms of expression. So it's big up to you for taking on that torch for like 5 years and represent. I know like the Hooch has a lot of stories, you know, like what is like a memorable story from that era? And then before you say that, like, what is the time frame for the Hooch? Like, what does that era represent? Was like what, like 2002? Like what?
I think it was like 2001 to 2006, around there. That's around when I did it, kind of. It might have been 2002. It's right around there, but I think it was like end of 2001.
Right.
It was really good. It was the beginning of the Napster, MySpace.
Oh man,
because era and Audio Galaxy things and like burning CDs and hustling that era. So it was cool. People chopping CDRs outside the spot. Like
we did that, man, every day in front of Much Music, man.
It was a good era. It
was.
As far as a story, various stories. Shout out to Empire. I don't want to tell the story of the fight in there.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that was a wild fight,
man. Like, shoot.
Yeah, I know that was not right. Shout out to Lep, man. But a good time. It was one of the only times I actually battled. I will battle, and I've written some diss records when I've needed to. Fuck Action Bronson.
Okay.
I saw him do something horrible to a woman at Danforth Sound Academy, or Danforth Music Hall. But at the Hooch, I actually battled a woman with honor and dignity and respect, and it was one of the only times I battled someone face to face, and I had to take out Range. Range is in LA. Range is in LA now doing dope stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But man, those are some throwback artists, man, from back in the day.
Yeah, Range stepped to me once and was like, "Yo, you think I won't diss you up in your own venue?" And like she's coming in my face, battling me, and I was like, I came back to her. I was like, "Yo, you think I won't diss you because you got tits?" so it was that was a good moment.
Okay, man, hip hop, man.
It was very hip hop.
Non-stop expressions, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, that's peace, man. So, you know, today's your birthday, man. Like, you know, I'm curious to know, because I remember you mentioning, like, you know, that you were originally from like Ottawa and then you came down to Toronto.
No, I was born here. I'm Toronto.
Okay.
I was born in Toronto, but my mom moved all over Canada for various reasons, for my stepdad's job or to like escape my abusive father. But yeah, no, we're Toronto born. But the thing is, me and my brother didn't come up in Toronto through our like childhood years. We came back here in grade 8, and then we came back here after we did high school in Ottawa. So like, you know, so Ottawa is a very special place for me because it's like where I met my first rap crew, and I did my first concert across the border in Ottawa in Hull, Quebec. Right. But I recorded my first song with some homies here in Toronto, like I came back to seeing. So we were always coming back and forth. Shout out to DJ X, first person to ever play my song on the radio.
Ooh.
Yep. Salute DJ X. Mad love to him for that. So like we brought it back here, and I got it played on Power Move Show. High school in Ottawa was a very formative time because like the first rap crews were there. But when Much Music, they came to Ottawa to do a little
dance party.
Well, no. Yes. Well, not a dance party, but they did come at another time to do dance party. But they came up once because after Organized Rhyme like blew up.
Jada Finch.
Yeah, after Organized Rhyme did their thing, they were like, "Yo, I guess there's a few little rap things happening in Ottawa," and they came up and Much Music did a profile on a few little crews, and it was like Boogaloo Tribe, us, the Extraterrestrials, and I think, do you remember One Dread Fred and Kokomo? Damn.
One Dread Fred sounds super familiar. Though.
Yeah, yo, there were Ottawa's. Oh, it's bothering me that I don't remember their name. There were Ottawa's first group to do a video, but a bunch of them were real criminals, and then they actually got deported. One Dread Fred got deported back to Jamaica, and Kokomo got in a fight. Kokomo actually is Mo that helps run Hip Hop Canada. Like Mo.
Say word.
Yeah, that Mo. Yes. So yes.
Yo.
Clarence Gruff. Clarence Gruff.
Okay.
Clarence Gruff. Yes.
I didn't know Mo was deep like that. Shout out Mo, man. Shout out Hip Hop Canada, man. Shout out Jesse, man. Shout out everybody, man. That's dope, man. That's dope.
I really must sit down and start writing a book. I won't have all the details in it, but I need to start capturing the chapters and memories.
So speaking of birthdays, you know what I mean, and like reflections, you said that you turn what, 43, you said?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a blessing, you know what I mean? And I think it's a good age, like you're still very young, you're still fresh, you know what I mean? Got your health, got your energy, you're in the right state of mind. You know what I mean? Like, I guess, like, what are some like reflections, in comparison to like 10 years ago, like, like from when we played that music video, you know what I mean? Like, what was some of the mindsets you were having back then in contrast to now? Like, what does that like evolution look like in terms of reflections and reminiscing?
I'm so happy you asked, dog. Honestly, one of the biggest lessons I know that I'm going to keep saying to myself, but I wish I could have said to myself in that video is go for your dreams. Don't wait for somebody to save you, because I'll never forget Stevie Wonder won an award a while ago, and when they asked Stevie, they played Fingertips for him, and Stevie Wonder is one of the last living, my highest sacred musical loves. Like, ever since Michael Jackson and Prince are dead, like, Stevie's my when Stevie dies, I'm crying for a year. I'm like, it will be like,
you have to create his catalog too.
And yeah, for real, I'm gonna celebrate him for 10 years, but like, I'm just gonna say it's like gonna be heartbreaking. But they asked Stevie Wonder, what would you say to yourself as a young man? And I will never forget, he said, work harder, young man. And I wouldn't quite say that to myself as work harder, but I mean, on one hand, I could say work harder, but at the same time, I've done a lot of work, and sometimes it's not really the work. It's just when your stars align. And like, I feel like I was ahead of my time back in those days. I feel like in one way, I'm kind of lucky that I got to live through an era where there was no internet, and I got to live at the beginning of the internet, and I lived through the CDR era, and I got to see, like, just various. I saw Rap City come. I saw a lot of good things in the culture. So, and it never really happened for me, but I was close enough to be part of it and get thousands of countless experiences. Talk to Nas, talk to a lot of the heroes that I had.
Been on stage with Wu-Tang.
Yeah, get on stage with Wu-Tang many times. Like, have RZA make fun of my forehead when we're chilling at a College Street after party. I'm like, yo, RZA feels close enough to me to make fun of me. I love, this is like the third time that I'm seeing him, and he's like, yo, I see you, yo, look at you and your big ass forehead. And I was like, yo, man, I love this.
That's like some straight New York shit, yo. Like
straight New York shit. I'm like, yo, man, just snapping on each other like your peeps. And I was like, I love that I was close enough to hip hop to do that, but I wasn't. I've had many jobs, but I was never like, my time was never done. It's like, oh, man, Mindbender's passed. He's as. I mean, I'm sure some people think that, but like, I am still quite active in hip hop culture and Toronto culture and porn and whatever the fuck else I want to do with my life. So I'm just saying it was really good to kind of grow alongside Toronto and hip hop and all these things and just make it to 2020 because I feel like it's the real time now. Like it's like, you know, capitalism is falling apart. The pandemic has happened, something that happens once in 100 years. For the George Floyd protest was literally the tipping point of super new history, and I feel like my whole life has been building up to this.
Man, that's crazy, yo. You know what I mean? And it's so dope that you were able to like stay true to yourself. You know, follow your dreams, follow your ambitions. You know, and you have someone who's always, you know, shown that like perseverance and just that like resilience and just, you know, regardless of people, you know, maybe not giving you a shot or recognizing like your skills or your talent, you know, you didn't let that hinder your movements. Like you still kept going forth. And I think, you know, just from an outsider, like just observing, I think it really, you know, pays a tribute to your sense of knowledge of self. Like, you know what I mean? Like you have like a strong like self-awareness. So you're not following trends. You're not wishy-washy. You're doing what your heart and soul tells you to do. And I think that's what stands the test of time. That's why we can play the music video from 10 years ago. And it's like exactly like relevant to like today. Like it almost sounds like you wrote it like around this era. You know what I mean? So,
hey, yo, thank you. I'm really honored by that. And I'm happy that I did that with, I said it, I think DJ FaZe or Jonathan Ramos. We were talking online and it was like, yo, man, no, it was Tone Mason. Shout out Tone Mason. And we were just like, big up to the artists who followed their hearts and didn't follow the trends, because if you follow the trend from 10 years ago, your music is going to sound 10 years old. And if you didn't follow the trends, yo, you made so, and if you were talented enough, your shit still sounds like a classic, which is why all us homies got together 3 days ago and listened to the 25th anniversary of Only Built for Cuban Links. And we listened to the whole album, and you're just like, yo, it still sounds amazing.
No, it's true. No, that was fire, yo.
I was like, yo, I was chilling with the homies where we were literally like, do you remember in grade 10 when 1995 when we're listening to Cuban Links and like sitting in it, like smoking blunts in a circle? Here we are 25 years later in the same thing, and the music still feels the same. Wow.
It does.
Dope.
And, you know, I always go back to the music from those eras. Like absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just like it's spiritual music. You know what I mean? It's so infused with just so much more than just sounds. You know what I mean?
Oh, dog! It is religion.
It's religion. Yes.
Religion to me. Yeah. And the thing is, it's more religion than actual religion now. Because I love to make that parallel. I'm like, yo, church and concerts are the same thing, except for in a church you're not allowed to swear, and that's one of the only differences. And they don't sell beer. But like,
you're right. It's the same thing. Like you're going to go to a concert. You're going to pay a fee. You know, you're going to have your deposit or whatever. You're going to put your hands up. You know what I mean? You're going to be like, hey, and praise them and celebrating or whatever. So there is a lot of parallels when you really think about it.
For sure. And you're there to see someone preach a message of some sort. Like literally, like it's literally a gathering of people there to do it. Like I've always thought there's a parallel, and I'm like, yo.
So man. So to continue on this, you know what I mean? Because like today's about you. You know what I mean? And I think you're like a really interesting individual. And again, like, you know, like one thing that I've respected and admired about you is that you, again, like always just walk your own path, regardless of what people think or say or what have you. You know what I mean? And you have expanded into like other forms of expression and creativity. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Which will lead to, you know, like Malcolm Lovejoy. You know, I'm curious, like, you know, a bit about Malcolm Lovejoy, and then like, you know, how that name came about. You know what I mean? I can kind of come up with my assumptions. Yeah. You know, I like the Malcolm part. You know what I mean? But like, I guess like, you know, you can break that down and I guess talk about that journey.
It's perfect you say that, because I did hip hop for 20. I started rhyming at 14. I wrote my first rhyme at 11. Recorded my first song at 14, and then when I was about 34, 35, I started getting really frustrated with hip hop and how I met Queen Latifah on Bloor Street.
Oh shit!
For in the middle of shooting a scene for Hairspray. We're in the scene. There's a crowd of 500 people. Queen Latifah walks through the whole crowd and comes directly to me. And it's like, how are you doing, brother? Are they treating you well? I hope you're doing good.
Wow.
I talked to Queen Latifah for 5 minutes. I will go to my grave saying Queen Latifah is a saint. I love her. But I'm like,
she did a check for you to make sure you were good. That's
yeah. And I feel like she saw like a connection between like queer black people, because like my gaydar goes off on Queen Latifah sometimes, and I love her for it. I'm like, yo, I don't care. I'm like, yo, it's not disrespect to call someone gay. You have to be homophobic if you think it's disrespectful to call somebody gay. It could be right or wrong. It's like calling a British person Scottish if they're not. It's like, no, it's just right or wrong. It's not disrespectful.
Right.
I'm just like, yo, I love Queen Latifah, and I think she is a bisexual. I love her. She's into men and women, and I think she like sees that in me, which is why she came to talk to me directly. So I was like, yo, the energy. She's just like, yo, brother. She didn't bring it up, like, and I didn't even know at the time that I hadn't even been with any men. I'm not sexually been with men, but by now I've kissed a few dudes and stuff. So like at the time, she just saw it in me. Because even when I was mad younger, a lot of people would be like, "Are you gay? Are you bi?" I'm like, nah, not really. But I'm like, I'm open-minded. I'm open-hearted, and I grew into a queer black person. So, so I saw Queen Latifah. I had these experiences with her, and like, I was so frustrated with hip hop not being able to talk about it. I'm like, Queen Latifah made a movie as a lesbian before hip hop got to talk about Queen Latifah being like a biker chick in like hardcore leather black culture, and be like, yo, what is she subliminally saying in all her Flavor Unit videos where she's like hardcore butch and and being like UNITY, I'll smack a motherfucker in his eye. I'm like, yo, like Queen Latifah is not a weak woman.
No,
she's a strong dyke. Like she's like, show some damn respect. So anyways, I'm saying all this to say I got sick of hip hop hiding the gay rapper, hiding lesbian rappers, and I'm like, I just want to go into sexuality as a career, like as an industry. And now I just decided to go when I turned 36. I decided to be Malcolm Lovejoy, and I got the name by thinking of Malcolm X. And I was like, yo, I want my porn to be very political. I'm not gonna hide the fact that I'm a black man, and I'm not gonna hide my mind. I'm like, excuse me, I'm a very smart black man, but I'm also sexual. Like, these things can coexist. Deal with it. It's not about a one or the other. And so Malcolm from Malcolm X, and Lovejoy from Reverend Lovejoy from The Simpsons, because I love cartoons. I love
Lovejoy. He was a character, yo.
Yeah, and I mean, Reverend Lovejoy wasn't even my favorite character on The Simpsons. It's just I love the Lovejoy is a great word and a great name. And I love The Simpsons. I love cartoons. I love comics. So to me, it's just like half political, half jokes and fun.
So it sounds like it's a revolutionary love. You know what I mean? You got that like Malcolm Lovejoy. You know that balance. You know,
exactly.
Because love itself is revolutionary, like 100%. You know, so I totally get that. Now speaking of which, like we know that, you know, like sexuality and hip hop, you know, has, you know, always kind of been there, but you know, some of the relationships or intersections have been very like dysfunctional. You know, like toxic male masculinity and you know, and things of that nature. You know, and I know that you take a feminist or I guess like a more balanced approach to things. So I'm curious to know like, you know, some of the things that you're really passionate about, because I know that you're really adamant about, you know, advocacy against like, you know, like toxic like behaviors and creating safe environments, especially for women. I guess I want to speak a bit on that.
What did you say at the end on that?
No, just like you know, like you're really adamant on creating safe spaces for women as well.
1,000,000%, a million billion percent. It's so important. It's vital. It's literally the number one most important thing to me in the spaces that I go. I'm not a me first kind of guy, to the detriment of my career. I love Shad and Kanon and a lot of other rappers who are positive minded rappers, but they're also very, I mean, they're driven for their own success, and which they should be. But I just, for my own detriment. Sometimes I'm not as much about take space, take progress, take me. I don't mean to diss that in my brother. I mean it's like a business flaw of me. Like I step back. But I'm saying that to when it applies to sexuality, I'm very much about safety. And thank you for saying that. The term that I like to call myself is a masculine feminist. But I don't even say it a lot. I don't wave a feminism flag. Yeah. I don't talk all the time about being a feminist. I just do the work. I don't hit women with these hands, and I don't call any women the B word. I don't disrespect, period. It's far more important to walk the walk than to talk the talk, because
absolutely
countless men, whether it's in religion or politics or music or any realm of life, schooling, health, anything, so we're like, I respect women. Well, they talk all that stuff on a podium or whatever, and then you find that they're like abusing somebody and like cheating on somebody horribly and exploiting them sexually and all this stuff. And like I got into porn to spread love and show, like what Maria says, revolutionary love. I thank you for doing that. Yes. And thank you for the birthday blessings, Maria. Shout out to D as well. Yes, all my heroes' spirits are with me as well. And like my heroes are Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. And people who, I believe Martin Luther King cheated on his wife, but I don't think that takes away from the power of his message. It makes him a well-rounded human being who shouldn't be seen as a flawed character because he was a preacher that had a sex life, and it was a sex life that was even beyond his own wife. Or the fact that Malcolm X, I know that Malcolm X cheated on his wife when he was in Europe before he came back home. And like, I don't say that to take away from him. I say that because I study the truth, and it's just like, hey,
transparency.
It's just transparency. It's just an observation of a fact. Various people have marital problems. It's just part of relationships. So I study. I just study relationships, period. So
and then also finding ways to heal from it too. You know, because sometimes like when we go through these pain, it's just left unexpressed, undealt with. You know, and I think it's really important to create spaces for like restorative justice, if you will, to create that understanding. Because like you said, like we're human beings and we're discovering ourselves in different avenues and places and spaces. But I think it's really about finding space to heal and to have conversations and understanding and to create something that works. You know what I mean? Create something that works.
You nailed it right there, brother. Because, I mean, somebody was saying, look at all these prisons and jails, and look how many times they've thrown people in jail. Does this really work in solving crime, stopping crime, or even like rehabilitating prisoners and criminals? No, it does not. Like, so it's not about that for them. It's about exploitation, prison labor, psychological manipulation, all this other fucking insane bullshit. But like, we really can hopefully create places of justice and places of truth. I wish that hip hop was a place where people could be honest and true. And
well, you know what?
It can be, but we definitely gotta.
And like in the spirit of like creating, I feel like that's what you're doing. You know, like when I think of like the way how you have like the intersections of like hip hop and then like sexuality and especially that kind of goes against the grain of like the stereotypical images that we see like in hip hop. I know that you probably face like quite a bit of resistance, people not being open-minded or understanding to like the way how you express yourself.
Yeah, I face a lot of ignorant resistance, but I laugh at it. I definitely wanted to shout out Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's one of my great all-time heroes, even though I don't think that he was perfect. I believe I've learned some interesting weird things that it's hard to talk about in public. I'll say quickly, I don't want to get into it, but I read a book where one of Michael Jackson's managers goes, Michael didn't like black people very much. And it's like, wow. I say that to just say, like, no matter who my heroes are, they don't have to be perfect. We just have to acknowledge their lives. But I'm saying all this to say, one of Michael Jackson's greatest statements is, it's basic, but it's real. Like, this artistry is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Right. So
right.
So like this is a lifelong justice, truth, freedom, the message of stolen from Africa and going home. Like this ain't about 2 or 3 years or being like, oh, yo, this was popping when we were wearing Malcolm X hats and medallions, but like now it's like we ain't on that shit no more. It's like, nah, man. Which is why I say this to say today, on my 43rd birthday, is a very heartbreaking day to find out about 2 people that I thought were on the mission who aren't on the mission in the ways that I thought they were. And
what do you mean, man? What do you mean? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Common being exposed as participating in some sexual abuse, and Talib Kweli, not as in some sexual abuse, but Talib has been on a very unfortunate rampage against some Black women online, and he refuses. He refuses to check himself on it and just to slow his roll. So it's just. Yeah, I'm just saying this to say sometimes it's disappointing that people that you looked up to as your child in your childhood years, sometimes they fuck up. Sometimes,
for sure. Well, you know what? This is one of the reasons why I don't idolize people. You know, I don't idolize celebrities or put them in this like position of God. You know what I mean? Or the supreme place of worship. Yes, like there's high degrees of appreciation, but just recognizing that they are human and there's always more than meets the eye. You know what I mean? Like everybody has their path and their journey of things that they need to like work on, their karma or their life purposes. There's so many different factors that go into like the output that we see, and we may not get all of the aspects or pictures of it. But I just recognize that when I see people going through some things, I try my best to keep like a humble mind, to have like empathy and compassion as much as I possibly can. Obviously, there's certain situations that, it's difficult, much more difficult. But, to also know that I'm, myself am human too. And hopefully that, if I'm in situations like I'm confronted with, grace and mercy and support as well. You know what I mean? It's easy to look at things that are wrong, but it's like, okay, what can we do to like, offer a solution? What can we do to heal? What can we do to like rectify this and essentially transform energy, right? Because energy doesn't die, it just changes form. And I think like the most powerful thing you can do is like completely change energy into something powerful and something positive, even when it looks like it's quite like a dark place to be.
I love what you said, and I totally agree. I want hip hop to do that, and I want our brothers to show up
we're being examples, and just like you said right there, like that's the thing, like just to show up. Like you may not have the answers, you may not know how it's done, you may not know what to do, but like just show up, like that.
Yeah, just show up and be like, I fucked up that time. Nobody wins them all. Nobody expects perfection. Like that's why I talked about. I don't like to talk about it, but I research hard stuff. This is the first time I've ever thought of Michael Jackson might not have actually liked Black people, and I love Michael Jackson to death. I
want to explore that for a bit, because again, like I love trying to figure out the whys and the hows. Like, how would someone like him get to that particular mindset? Because like when I hear that, I think of like like the nose jobs and just like certain things that he was doing. He was a child star. His parents were like pretty strict and ruthless with their trainings, and he never really had a child life. You know what I mean? So I wonder if there's some like foundational stuff that kind of like shaped his views and experiences. And then it's like, okay, well, what kind of Black people is he around? You know what I mean? For him to feel like, okay, I'm just done with Black people, period. Right? Because we're talking about like individuals, you know what I mean? So, and being in the entertainment world as a child, you're going to get a particular kind of person, you know what I mean? Like, and that tug of war, of trying to be accepted and not, and, so who knows? It's just definitely something to think about.
You nailed it right there. It's the tug of war. Because Michael Jackson was in a position that Kanye West is similarly paralleled in. They've ascended to a level where their Blackness almost transcends out of the lower level of Blackness that all Black people exist on, period. Like you just no matter Mother Nature knows we're equal, but society doesn't know we're equal. So like, so Michael Jackson Michael Jackson is chilling with Princess Diana and stuff like this. So Michael Jackson was royalty at every function in America. So it goes to, I mean, it's all part and parcel. I do believe he had vitiligo. I've seen some pictures where he had really blotchy skin, and some really rare pictures were like, wow, Michael did have a skin condition. But it still does tie into the bleaching of this and the straightening of the hair and the it's like, like, I mean, he had nose surgery, but it's like, he doesn't have an African nose. Like maybe he could have bleached his skin, right? Also kept an African nose. Like no, so it's stuff like that, the thinning of the lips, and like, I mean, he had his own issues around it. I love him, but there's lots of black people who, unfortunately, don't love their blackness maybe as much. For sure. And
for me, like, I'm really curious, on that, because again, it's easy to like write people off and just be like, oh well, these guys, whatever. But I think it may come from places of trauma. You know what I mean? I think there's stuff there to definitely unpack.
Oh my goodness! Like I love Michael to death. I'm with him. I say this as observations and difficult conversations. I don't say this to cast him out at all. I'm like, I just say this because there's multiple theories and philosophies and stuff about these people that's up there to be explored. There's lots of mysteries, and there's Tupac stuff coming out all the time, like like different unearthed this and different that, and some dude who just put up a letter that it wasn't Tupac, but it was Prodigy. Like Prodigy, it doesn't matter. People who have passed away, there's just constant stuff to always learn about them. Somebody brought out a Prodigy letter that he wrote from the HNIC album. This is like, wow, look at this Prodigy letter. You see his thought process, you see his handwriting, and it's just like there's new ways to interpret it. And I love Michael Jackson. It's just him being so rich that he feel like he almost transcended the pain of black life and poverty, and the fact that he vomited when he saw his father. Sometimes he would
that's deep.
So deep. So, but man.
I was gonna say, moving along, I know, it's like in the interest of time and whatnot. I know that you have like an exclusive track that you're gonna share with us on your birthday. Like exclusives. I don't know if this is is this like a premiere kind of deal? Like what's going on?
Well, I guess it would be the first premiere broadcast, but I did release it on August 1st. Okay. I threw it out there, but this is the first time it's actually being played and shared anywhere with people. So I'm
introduce the track. Like, let's know who produced it. Like, what's some of the story behind it.
Well, a few years ago, Sci-Hi the Prince put out a very powerful record called "Weak People," and it's a phenomenal, powerful ass song. And he was just talking about weak people, whack people who are just in the culture who are just not healthy and not good, and cultures. Problematic fools. So I just liked it, and in the tradition of remaking records in hip hop, I just kind of flipped it and took it to a new place. So I just called it Speak Deeper, and I'd like to play it. I like to play the second verse to the end because the way it runs out, I love it. The way the record ends. So. Yeah, you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. This one is called Speak Deeper by Mindbender Supreme. This is verse 2, though. Here we go. The N-word, I never use it. Fuck self-destruction, I love self-improvement. Make men ascend to the level of molecular revolution. Songs so intense it takes sense electrocution. Fiery flows I write with your soul on ice like an eldritch shooting. Burn Hollywood, burn more black stars shining in white supremacist movies. You books and statues, they never celebrate the rebel humans. I bet you didn't get the news of Nat Turner's execution. Teachers oppressing students and the poor get separate schooling. Rich don't want us to know how nuclear a weapon of truth is. Family and friends are slaves and agents in a matrix with 10 illusions. Let's get free like that present. Mentality police, you better do it. Why do you hate yourself and other blessed melanin humans? Never beg to end All corrupt civilization is lies. The government, the schools, businesses, fucking dirty cops. Oh, Bill Cosby. Time for the final revolution to end white supremacy across Earth. But we are taking our reparations first. Then we're going to go home to Africa, Jamaica, wherever the fuck we want to live on this planet. The highest, deepest, darkest, realest truth is that black people will never ever escape slavery in North America. So we decide to get the fuck out of here.
Let's go. Oh, yo. Okay.
Yeah, I had to go in.
Yeah, man, that's that Emancipation Day music. August 1st, man. That's what's up.
Yo, no doubt. Oh, thanks for the reminder.
Yeah.
I love you for reminding me of that. That is when I dropped that record. Oh, Neil, thank you. I love you.
You know what's crazy though? Like it just shows that you're just like in tune like that. Like, you know what I mean? You're just aligned with like the stars and planets. Like, you know what I mean? Everything's just, you know what I'm saying? So big up to you for that, man.
Oh man, I did drop it on August 1st. Yeah.
And it was, yeah, no, I was gonna say like I really like how y'all flipped the beat. You know, brought some classic vibes. You know, made it new. You know, so that's really big. I love that.
Yeah, yo, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so there's gonna be, I got a few other joints to drop. I mean, it's just too much going on in the world.
Yeah,
I'm doing the Malcolm Lovejoy thing. I've got my porn company. I'm creating and making stuff that's paying me better than hip hop ever paid me. But
crazy.
I just have to talk on these things, man. Like, I feel like I'm I was listening to your Logical Ethics EP and like, yo, it's so dope, man. I'm
gonna give space to that. Yeah,
we need to go into that because
we're going to, man. We're going to,
man. Because
that, you know, it's crazy to bring that up, man. Because that EP like was a you know, one of my like, I feel like darker periods of time. Like there's a lot that was happening around that era. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I was just finding out that I was going to become a father. Like, you know, old crews I was with were partying, and there's like beef and there's a lot of like transitional energy, and that's literally why I called it Dear Haters. You know what I mean? Because I was just up at that time, and I literally wrote that album, you know, in a couple days. You know, let's just shout out to Ali the Heshi. You know, went down to his condo right downtown on Harborfront. You know, I mean, he had this little mic set up, a computer set up, and we just banged it out, man. It was just straight, like just pure emotion and just things that were just, I need to get off my chest at that moment. So it was a really great, it was a fun process. It was a quick process. And I remember just after I recorded that album, I went to Africa. So it was kind of, it was like this release.
Where'd you go? Where'd you go?
I went to Durban, South Africa, because I won this competition. This competition that was put on by the UN Habitat, crime prevention in your community. So I essentially spoke about Stolen from Africa, and I won a free trip to Africa. You know, 2008, the same year you dropped your thing there. You know what I mean? So your song that we just played. You know what I mean? So years. So yeah, man.
Yo, I didn't know you got that trip to Africa. Yo, you got a free trip.
We're gonna save it. We're gonna save that for like another like episode on Reminisce, because like.
No
like,
doubt.
We got a lot of archives. We got a lot in the archives that we can build up. You know,
no doubt. And we'll go into. I'll talk about my trip to Africa, because
we have to.
Yeah, like if nothing else, if I die, like, which I don't want to, I want to live till. I want to live. My goal is the Nelson Mandela life. I want to live till I'm 93. 93 is my goal. So like, and like dignified death when you go to sleep, kind of old black man death. But yeah, if nothing else, if I were to unfortunately pass early, I am at least happy to say I literally, when I got to Africa and Ghana, I was like, I'm here, I'm kissing the motherfucking pavement on the tarmac of the airplane. I literally kissed the ground as soon as I got to Africa. So I'm like, I'm happy that I can say that. I'm happy you can say that. And it's something I want for all of our people. I can't tell you, like, every black person needs to go to Africa for real. Everyone needs to go, but some people don't have reasons to go as much as we do. So like, You weren't stolen from there. I'm like, I question some of the people go there and look at it and don't touch anything, don't kill any animals, don't steal nothing, don't assume nothing. But it's it's a beautiful place. We all should go.
Yeah, no, like I remember, and again, like we're gonna save this for a whole nother episode though. But the fact of being stolen Africans, you know what I mean? Because our connection to Africa is different than continental Africans. You know what I mean? Like we have a slightly different view and desire and things of that nature. But to be able to return to the slave castles in Ghana through the door of no return, because that is the door of no return, and you were able to come back. Like, take that in. Like, everybody knew once you went through that door, like you're done. That's a wrap.
You're done. Your life is over.
Years later, hundreds of years later, it's like God kept his promise. But anyways, we
will. I love it. Yo, you're the man. All right. What do we got?
Let's see, man. Drum roll.
What is this? Oh, this was whack. I can't even. The police department tried to make a comic once. It was so whack.
Yeah, we'll just put that over there.
Yeah, it's like I got it because I was like, they ain't getting me to love the cops just because they know I love comic books. I'm like, yo, fuck the police. Fun these motherfuckers.
Those basketball leagues and you know what I mean, all these different things and giving out ice cream and stuff.
Yeah, right.
We see.
This was I pulled that one out already. That was a beast mode battle.
Okay.
Yo, man, there's so much in here. Sometimes I don't even know what there is. Come on. That King of the Dot. We had two that I already seen before. This is crazy.
Suspense. What is it?
This is when Dalton.
Oh no, we can't really see it, man, because you got that special effect on. You got a special lighting.
No, I wasn't sure how much you could see this shit.
But what is it, Dalton? You mentioned about Dalton, so
yeah, it's Dalton. Northern Touch: Drake and the Rise of Canadian Hip Hop. Dalton Higgins discusses his latest book, Far From Over, about Drake and the growth of the Canadian hip hop community.
Right. That was his book that he dropped, man. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Shout out Dalton, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. Eglinton West, Oakwood, St. Clair West vibes. You already know, man. OG in the building, man.
Shout out Dalton.
Shout out everyone on Vaughan Road. Shout out Oakwood. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I'll do another one next time because I wasn't sure how much you could see this.
Yeah. No, that was a cool effect though, but I just couldn't see the flyer though. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, yo, man, on that note, man, today was a great introduction. I think like we're gonna have more topics on some of the things that you're involved in, and I know that on Facebook I have my own series called Reason with Logic, and there's a lot of things I definitely want to dive in more with you, so that we can reason with logic. You know what I'm saying?
We will.
Yeah, man. I definitely want to again wish you like a very happy birthday. You know what I mean? Hope you spend the time with loved ones and just enjoy life, man. That's really where we're at right now. You know what I mean? We've sacrificed a lot. We've done a lot. Now, right now, it's like paid our dues. It's time to enjoy life. You know what I'm saying?
Man, thank you for that, man. Thank you for real. I got to tell you, doing this today, I was so happy that our Reminisce Show landed on my birthday. This is exactly what I want to do on my birthday. Just be with. I am with a loved one, dog. Like you're a brother from another mother forever, for real. And like,
you already know, brother.
And like, I'm probably gonna see my brother tonight. Shout out my bro Conspiracy.
Man, you're a twin brother, by the way, man. Like,
Yes, my twin brother. I love it. He's the strongest person I know. He's been through everything. He's been homeless. He's been in and out of jail. He's survived it all, and he's still got a beating heart and an optimistic soul. And he's one of hip hop's wildest, deepest, unreal stories. So we both made it to 43. It's unreal, and it's very real. And God bless to all the ancestors and all the heroes that didn't make it to today. But shout out to I love you all and thank you for this.
That's what it is, man. On the Reminisce Show, man. So yeah, man, we'll be back next week, man. More exclusives and continuing this vibe, continuing the conversation. You know, we do it for hip hop, man. We do it for the future. We do it for our ancestors. You know what I mean? It's all one movement, man. So that's what it is, man. The Reminisce Show, yeah.
Love.
And we out, man. We out. Peace.